Rajdeep Sardesai is also joining us on the phone line on this broadcast. Rajdeep, first up, from all of us here at India Today, we'd like to go ahead and tell his grieving family many condolences on this bereavement. How do you remember Rakesh Jhunjhunwala?
Rakesh Jhunjhunwala was a one-of-a-kind, Chaiti. Outspoken, could even be seen by some of those who didn't know him as offensive when you first met him in terms of his blunt nature of some of his observations. But I think he was someone who saw the future. And he saw the future even in the mid-1980s when he first got into stockbroking. Interestingly, his father was an income tax commissioner and was hesitant to allow Rakesh. He always told me this, that my father never wanted me to even enter the stock market. But Rakesh eventually chose his own path at a time when very few people were willing to venture in the mid-1980s into the stock market. But as I said, he saw the future, and post-1991, I think he was someone who understood how the markets were going to move and was there for the long term. You know, he was not some kind of a short-term speculator, and that's what I think marked him out from the others. Even when we spoke at length a few months ago about his investment in airlines, he genuinely believed that India's passenger air traffic would quadruple over the next decade, and that's why he felt that India needed more airlines. It was for him not just a kind of a pet project in terms of fulfilling some lifestyle choice, but a shrewd business investment. So I think under that garb of being this blunt, outspoken individual was someone who was very calculating about his business choices, about his business decisions, and was always free, open to sharing his thoughts, very generous with his thoughts, his advice. I remember once asking him about my stock portfolio, which is very limited, and Rakesh then went into 10 minutes to explain to me what it meant to actually invest in a particular share. So he was very generous with his thoughts and was someone, as I said, was a trendsetter. You know, if you are in Mumbai today, there are a number of people who literally swear by stocks that Rakesh Jhunjhunwala bought. I mean, the moment Rakesh Jhunjhunwala bought a stock, people would believe that the stock would go up. So he had built that kind of equity among investors that Rakesh knew exactly where to invest. A real, in that sense, you know, a model for, you know, he became a sort of iconic figure for a younger India, which was now slowly embracing the equity cult. So when you look back at the last 30 years and the post-liberalization India, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's story is one of the great stories of our time.
Of course, absolutely the greatest. And Rajdeep, while you were talking about his nature as well, if you could expand a little bit, you know, many at the first instance when they used to meet him used to feel that, okay, maybe he is rude, but he was rather a very straightforward person who used to always call a spade, Rajdeep.
Absolutely. You know, he was a great supporter, for example, of Prime Minister Modi. And I remember he and I once had a political discussion on it. And he said, please call me on your program. I will give you 10 reasons why I believe Prime Minister Modi is good for India. And there was someone in the room with us who was a critic of Modi. And Mr. Jhunjhunwala said, you know, call this person with me. We debate the issue. So he was, you know, more than happy to you know, put his political thoughts out there on the table, you know, ready for a joust with someone whose view he disagreed with. But I don't think it was ever done with malice. I think that's the important part. I don't think Rakesh ever, you know, sort of challenged someone out of malice. It was his belief, his conviction in what he saw the future. And, you know, he was never hesitant to speak up. He would make a, you know, very good debater, actually, because he was full of hard data. And as he claimed, even when he went into a particular stock, he always went on the basis of what he saw was hard information that he had. And in that sense, again, as I said, he became an iconic figure because at a time when the equity cult was, you know, just about beginning to grow, Rakesh was the one who was ahead of his time.